Discipline, 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 discipline,
Got
discipline,
it.
discipline. Stoners! We get high.
Welcome to another episode of Disciplined Stoners. I am so happy to finally bring you this incredible human being who has so swiftly been an amazing part of both of our lives. One of my bros from time, one of the most energetic, positive, happy people you will ever meet, also fit, an early Bitcoin adapter, and just a beautiful soul and contribution to the world and a recent business owner unto himself. Please get your joints up for my bro, Spandy Andy.
Hey, thanks. Thanks, man. Appreciate the intro. Good
Bless
to
you,
see
bro.
you. Thanks for having me on the show. Good to be here. I love what you guys are all about. And it's nice to finally be on an episode.
Yeah, bro.
I can't believe it's taken us this long.
That's true, actually. You guys have been doing so many different casts, but I even thought we might be going live on Instagram. It's hard to keep up with all this fun.
I know. Well, we did an Instagram live, you and me. We chatted about stuff, but it wasn't actually published like a full push like the podcast. But dude, it is so good. It is so good to see you. You are thriving in your space. Spandy has recently created kind of like a homestead. Tell us about that, like where you're hanging out right now.
Yes, I'm hanging out in my own studio, so it's really Spandy land. It finally came true. It's whatever my imagination wants it to be. It's just a giant box of an empty space, right? And kids love to play in boxes. I'm really just a big kid here. And no, it has high ceilings, and that's so good for my new act where I play with a giant balloon. I needed a space where I could swing that thing around, so it's perfect here.
And this is in Alberta.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, it's crazy. And I'm close to family. It made sense here in Alberta. It was actually the most affordable place to do it. So I'm in a place called Trochu. Yeah! with the cowboys out here. Look how good my internet is.
It is really great. Thank you for that. I've also seen that you've made great friends with the mayor.
Yeah, I don't know if people are watching video or if it's just audio, but there's our grain elevator. And yes, the mayor and I are best buds. We hang out, we went golfing together. It's awesome. On the weekends, if we run into each other, it seems pretty regular. We're on a competition to see who's the most colorful person, which is awesome. He's a really colorful guy. He wears all the golf clothing, you know, the colorful golf socks and everything.
Yeah.
You always share a fun connection with people wherever you travel. Wherever we've gone, you've always connected with someone in a neat position just by being a super positive person.
It's true. Well, and the spandex, it's one of those like conversation starters almost too. Like people just it's almost like when you're walking with your dog, the dog's the conversation starter or whatever. It's that nice start. And then the mayor's even like, why Trochu? Right? He's like, he's thankful.
Yeah, of course he is. Anytime I get to talk to you, I'm thankful too. Can I, what is Winnie going to say?
Well, I just wanted to say for those of you who might be like introducing themselves to you for the first time, our listeners, I just wanted to ask, like where you started.
Yeah, like where does this start? I was just going to ask the same question. This spandex thing, this colorful thing.
It's true. Yeah, like spandex was the very beginning of it because it was probably 15 years ago now that I tried to prove that I wasn't embarrassed of anything by putting spandex on. Like that was it. I was just trying to show my brother that I could be silly, and I told him to like film it, and it was just for fun, not thinking anything of it. And then it made everybody happy when I did it. Everybody laughed at me everywhere I went, and I realized like this changed my life. Like by putting spandex on and going out, I'm being treated differently. And because of that, I just kept going with it because I realized that it was way more exciting to live life this way. Even I didn't even know like what I was going to do with it exactly from the beginning, but dancing actually naturally felt right. Once you were wearing spandex, it was like people were staring at me. It's
So
like,
the
what else
the
am I
spandex
gonna do?
the
Yeah, so the
spandex came
spandex is
first.
before dancing. Yeah.
And the dancing story is quite legendary. You don't have to like say the names of any gatherings or anything, but essentially there was a crux moment where you said, I just want to dance and make people happy, right? Like that was all kind of came into
Well,
one
yeah,
cataclysmic moment.
so happiness, I realized the ultimate action of happiness is dancing. So like when you're happy, you dance. So to show that I was happy, I'd be dancing. So that's where the dancing comes from. It's just the expression of happiness. Like if you're truly happy, it seems like that's what you do. Like say you're celebrating an event, there's usually like a celebration dance, right? Like that's just how humans celebrate. Even tribes and everything, we celebrate by dancing and everything. So that's where the dancing came from. It was just like the natural that I'm thankful to be alive. If I'm so happy to be alive, I'm going to express that. How am I going to show that? By dancing. Woo, look at, I'm free. And then it's expressing freedom too, which we have to be thankful for all these things. Yes. And I was the only reason I knew all this, you guys know, but the listeners might not, is because my grandma was a Holocaust survivor, right? So she taught me to be so thankful. So I wanted to show people to also be thankful. So this is the conglomerate of all of these things. And then there's even more great influence, like my brother, who was coming out as gay before even same-sex marriage was legal and stuff. So I had to see his confidence and learn to show my pride even. Yeah. And then, so it's like all these things came together for Spandy Andy, right? It wasn't, it's quite the story, but
yeah, it's perfect. I love that.
What were you doing prior and what made you switch from what you were doing to dancing?
Okay, yeah, good questions. Luckily, I because I was into computers, that really helped with the transition into becoming Spandy Andy, because the tools that we have today that we're using right now to chat allowed for entrepreneurs and new businesses to come flourish. So I was able to offer this niche like entertainment business of Spandy Andy to even do birthday parties or do an event or do whatever I could. I tried out for So You Think You Can Dance Canada, which got me like national exposure. And then that got a bunch of people to my website and they're like, hey, can you come to our staff party and do this and that? And it just kept growing and growing. And then Marineland saw me on Wipeout Canada and brought me over to Ontario, right? So yeah. I started in computers and I ended up on the internet. So it kind of makes sense.
Which naturally lended itself into your journey of like creating content, right? I think your life definitely changed. I know you got on TV, but you had one tipping point with a viral hit kind of your special style of dance that all the TikTok videos now, they're all based on. You're one of the OG, like dance crazy to an upbeat song. Like TikTok's whole formula is based off of your viral hit. Like,
yeah, it's insane. It's crazy how
I'm sorry, keep going.
No, I was just thinking, yeah, it's almost like I was up ahead of the curve, even with webcams with my brother and I. We were always trying to do like online shows, but like before even YouTube. So it's crazy.
I gotta publicly give you these flowers too. But you're so right. I want you to keep running. But when I met Spandy, hi Ben, I love you. When I met Spandy, I was actively pursuing stand-up comedy. So I was really in I gotta see the elbow grease to like respect with somebody modality. And you paired the online presence and content creation with the daily hustle. Because when you started dancing, for those of you that don't know, haven't heard me talk about Spandy before, I've known him Spandy's my second longest relationship next to Winnie. And before we became friends, we had a fun day of a dance off one day on Robson Street in Vancouver. But I would see this guy at English Bay, the beach area, every day busking years before I busked. In fact, me busking was taking a page out of Spandy's book. He was down there when did you make that switch to dance outside? Because then that was your viral content that you ended up doing in Australia. Didn't you shoot that in Australia? That transition is fascinating me, because that's what made you a star in my eyes. The fact that you were really out there busking and doing this brand.
Nice, right. So I was around street performing a bit all throughout this journey, but yeah, when I got to Marineland, that was 2011, and then that's when I first started performing for international audiences, because that's a place where tourists come. So then I was doing 5 shows a day, 5 days a week. So that was where I was like really lucky and able to hone my craft with audiences that don't even speak English per se. So I used the language of dance to communicate.
But you were busking before you got hired by Marineland, weren't you? Like in Vancouver.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'd always been busking. So yeah, you're right. I'd been busking because I realized it was a way to get paid to practice, honestly.
Yes, that is because we talk about a lot on this show. We have a lot of listeners who are artists who want to go full time. So as much as I can squeeze value out of my brilliant friends to say what was the act, because those are the real decisions. The viral hits and the clients are in between, right? They're the big pillars that happen, the noticeable. You were one of my collaborations that was like one of my first bigger waves of things, right? These bigger things come, but you have to be working all the time in between, and that you really put it in. Like, you are on a short list of people who I really know and respect who went through it. Like,
right, thanks. So with like street performing, it's perfect because you put your hat out. Like, even in like anywhere I went in the world, it's like I just put the hat out, do my thing, do a dance for 5 minutes, and then like after the song, it's like maybe I get $0, maybe I get 1, 2, and then I do it again. And it was like I started learning some of the crafts of street performing, and then like people would see me street performing, and I believe it or not, was seen by a producer when I was street performing. And then they were like, hey, we'd love to use you for something. Give me a call later. So it was like a way of getting my name out there anyway. Like, it was advertising my own brand right there. So a lot of the stuff, like you said, the big pillars, you don't know they're coming. But as long as you just keep at it, then that the universe brings it. And that's an important thing to know. Because, you got to just trust it.
Would you have guessed that your career has gone this way? Like, did you have goals at the beginning of this? Or was it always just like, in the present moment, this is what I want to do right now?
Yeah, great question, actually, because a lot of people are always like, you have to have goals. They really say stuff. They want to tell me that, always. And like, even like over 10 years ago, people were like, but your body's not going to be able to do this anymore. And like, there are like a lot. I know there's a lot of things we can think about and even worry about. And goals is like a great thing to have, but it's true that I'm more just like in the present moment. That's like where I want to spend most of my time. But then, of course, in that moment, I think like, ooh, I want to have pecs like Ev so I can pop them. But then I'm like, wait, that's not what's most important. But hey, why don't I do some push-ups? So, right? And like, I'm still gaining my goals. Put those things away. So I do have goals and stuff too. And like this new balloon act I'm working on, I've just started and I'm really inspired to practice it and like get it nice and professional, like a good 30-minute show.
That right there, though, what you just said, that is some people's heal when they can't find that when they've perceivably made it or did some short form of success, like, or have some tipping point. Those new things that you find to excite you and inspire you to want to practice. You know how beautiful those words are you just said? I'm inspired to practice. Oh, that muscle right there. Yeah. To always be looking for something. You know, I get positioned with songs. So someone's like, hey, you should learn how to do this because you're commissioned to do this song, and it would be a helpful tool to learn how to do this song. But like, it seems as though, or Winnie gets a script and she has to learn a new way to get to an emotion because this position of the circumstance of the script guided her to do so. You seem to just be reaching for divine creative new ideas. Like, what the fuck is a balloon act? Like, what do you mean balloon? Like, elaborate on that.
I know, it's true. It's crazy. It's the perfect thing for me. But I know most people have seen them by now, but they are like 72-inch balloons that people can climb inside of. Like, they're massive balloons, and it is like, it's actually very difficult and dangerous, which I was happy to learn. Because when I was doing it, I was like, oh my God, no wonder nobody does this. Yes. And I'm like, holy crap, this is physically demanding. Yes. Like, it's such a good gimmick, but I'm like, it's actually really challenging and hilarious. And it's such a big thing too. And in street performing, like gathering a crowd, you need to have people go up on unicycles and stuff. And I was like, this balloon's perfect.
Well, you further,
that's so cool.
You further your speculative value with it. That's for sure. I saw you at the Fringe Festival, and I'm like, besides having me on stage with him, which we've done, this is the next best thing. You are like fully taking up the entire stage, just you and a piece of rubber. And I'm just like, I love that you decided to do the most bizarrely random, perfectly exciting thing to go with your brand. Like, that's amazing. Because I think if you lack the creativity to not keep finding ways to expand your show, it's like, it's over. Like, you know, like if you did one thing, it's like, cool, you had your trick, but like you're like a lifer, like you are really in that bitch looking for new ways to expand. And it's such a niche thing that no one can, who are you going to take notes from? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, of course.
It's true. I did get messaged thanks to the internet by a couple like different people that have done it. I guess there's like a convention in Vegas where like these balloon artists go. So yeah, these guys even gave me tips. They're like, oh, make sure to hold this like thumb in and stuff. And one guy was like, make sure that you use like water-based lube if you're gonna use lube and stuff. I'm like, thank you, nice. So yeah, this one guy even told me which brand of lube to buy. So like,
is that giant case that I saw on Instagram?
Yeah, it's like an $80 thing of lube. It's insane.
How long is it gonna last?
It's hopefully a career.
The balloons career.
Okay, so I happen to know, I've seen your government issued ID, and I happen to know that your legal name is Spandy Andy.
Great.
What was the decision there to make that legal? What did that do for you?
It was fun. It was a combination of two things, basically. And when I did go out and dance in the street in Vancouver, so I went to, say, the art gallery, because that's where I saw lots of foot traffic and other acts and stuff. So I thought, hey, I'll try dancing here and spreading happiness. So I was dancing there, and then a reporter would come up to me and say, like, hey, what are you doing? Or people would ask me, like, what's your real name? Like, that they like to know. Like, they're always like, and what's your actual name? I'm like,
I
"Whoa."
know. Hate that shit.
I'm like, what? Yeah, all the time. I'm like, I'm Spandy Andy. This is who I am. This is what I wanted to say, and whatever you talk about and everything. But they for some reason want to know your real name. So anyway, I'm like, I'm gonna make my real name Spandy Andy. And then all these guys that keep saying, well, what's your real name? I'm like, it is.
I love that.
That is
prove it to the reporters at first, because then my legal name was Anthony Matthew Reimer. So it was like in the article, it's like Anthony. Like it just, there's no point. Like I know, like I want it to say Spandy Andy. So
yeah, I should change my name just to 11 straight up and down like Prince. Like I so commend you. You committed.
I know, it's like, why not, really? Like the next thing I'm probably gonna do is change my gender too. I'm gonna get my next license. I'm going X, baby.
Are you going to X? Are you going they?
Yeah. Well, you can still say whatever you want. I accept anything, but X marks the spot.
That's amazing. Good for you. Why not? Yeah, to be fluid or non-conforming in some way that's dope. Yeah, it seems to be the way of the future. Speaking of the way of the future, last night I was up till 2 or 3 a.m. because I fell face first into a Bitcoin documentary. And not that I want to throw this on you too heavy, because I know you've become a point of reference for this topic for a lot of people, so it must get exhausting talking about it. But your ability, it is right, your passion. So please, like you could go as long as you want, but I'm more interested in how you knew, because I seen Bitcoin one time when it was at $1 and I said no, and now it's at 58 grand or something, and I'm like, dough, and I'm like, yo, how did you know? Go.
I know, and you still were like, it's too late. I'm like, no, you're still even early. Like, ask how many people you know how many are carrying Bitcoin, right? They still don't have it. You're still at the very first to adopt it. You're even ahead of the curve still, so don't forget that. Because in 10 more years, every single person is going to be using it. Like, it's like email was. When email first came out, a couple of people had email and other ones were like, I'm not going to need email. I don't use that. And then 10 years later, it's like, no, everyone has email, right?
Yeah.
So, and then it's the same with like iPhones even, or texting with my parents. They're like, I'm not going to text. It took them about like 20 years before they finally, like, now they text me.
61.
Right. Wow. So yeah, it's going forever. It's a savings technology. So the reason I knew it was going to go up is because it's a digital scarce asset. So like, that's the part that's really hard for everybody to get, is how can something that's digital be scarce? But it's like, it's a network of computers that run the Bitcoin network and the Bitcoin protocol. And it's a lot of nerdy stuff. And like I said at the beginning of our conversation, I was into computers. So I was able to investigate Bitcoin a lot deeper than the average person. And I was able to look right at the code and understand what it was doing, and that, like, it's not a scam. Like, it's just math. Like, it's just, this computer says this, and that's what it is. And if you want to use it, you can. And if you don't, you don't. Like, no one can control it, which is a very powerful part. And it's a freedom fighting tool that way. So there's a big philosophy behind Bitcoin that's not about the price at all. But what a great part about saving money and being able to store your wealth. That's what honestly greedy naturally makes every human come into Bitcoin, is they're like, what? I want to make money. But then the beautiful thing is, once they're into it, they learn it's like a network, and it's everybody in the Bitcoin works together and accepts that there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and everybody agrees to that, which means that the purchasing power of their Bitcoin holds its value because there's a finite amount, right? So once you learn that it's a scarce amount and you all agree to it and nobody can change it because every computer controls it through math, and like, so it's getting a bit nerdy, but these combinations.
No, it's good.
This is the new form of money. This is internet's money. Like, this is
digital money successfully.
Yeah.
So the thing that was cool in the documentary I watched, it was like, it was everyone who got the source code. I just bought a little bit of Bitcoin as you were talking. Shout out Coinbase. They were one of the original mofos. But the thing about Bitcoin is it's transparent. Anyone can see the source code. Right. So are you allowed to see how your bank does things? Fuck no. You're a client. Right. You are getting pimped. You think that your money is in their vault? They are flipping it and leveraging your money. If you are going to put money that is, people get scared of the volatility of Bitcoin. There's fluctuating inflation all the time. If you have your money in the bank, it's dead and shrinking. If you actually put your money where there is movement and inflation, honestly and transparently, without being leveraged off, it's yours. This is how we should be doing money. It's like so obvious, it's right there. But then you talk to your average person and you're like, oh man, we're fucked. Like we're fucked for another like 900 years. Like this is the dark ages, but it's early. This is early still. You're right. But it's like, yeah, I can't believe it. That's the thing. It's transparent.
It's transparent and it's a slow, gradual transition constantly. And like every 5 years, the Bitcoin price seems to be like, tripling, quadrupling. And like,
and it fluctuates. And those who sell,
but it fluctuates in between, which is the scary part. But the only way to go up is to have that volatility. That's part of it.
How long have you been invested in Bitcoin?
So I've been in since like 2014. So that's like 7 years now.
How much was a Bitcoin then?
It was 400 when I started, but I didn't realize how many I should have bought, right? Of course. Because even at $400 and like, I'm like, wow, I don't want to, like, that's still throwing $400 at the internet, not knowing, I wasn't as convinced as I am now. Like now I know.
Now you
and
know,
especially with the debt in the world and COVID, and I learned about money. Like I've been studying for these 7 years as well. So my conviction grows every day.
Yeah. And especially you're going to find more information that is, of that nature if you're focused on that. What do you think about the clash of, because you mentioned freedom, and that's why I love it too. It is the way also where underprivileged countries and stuff like that can actually gain and be part of the global
anybody
economy.
Can use it.
Yeah, like you don't need a bank, you don't need a SIN number. You get a QR code or your address that is just a sequence of numbers, and then you get like the series of words that's like your key, right? And you should either take screenshots or write that down. But what do you think about the regulate? So it's such an oxymoron to say regulate crypto, because it's like one of the alluring properties of crypto is the fact that it has to do with freedom. So when they're trying to ground it and regulate it, one of the main stories was, remember that Silk Road website? It was first crypto was associated with dark things, but now that they're literally stocks, and I think there's crypto EFT, isn't there, or ETF or whatever, or the fucking, where they make a bunch of value.
So like right now you can take your RRSP, like your Canadian Retirement Fund, which is what we're all supposed to have, and you can delegate some of it towards stocks or ETFs that are now have exposure to Bitcoin. So like there's a company out of Quebec and I think Ontario that mines Bitcoin. So if you buy stocks in that company, then technically like you own the Bitcoin that the company holds because you own part of the company. So it's a way for them to like own Bitcoin without buying it directly and having it on a key like in the poor countries. But like that's the cool thing is like everybody benefits every time a new person adopts it. Like, so in El Salvador, they're making it a legal currency and they're all using it. That increases the value of the network in total because we're all together. And the investor in Ontario is helping the network by investing in it and mining it, protecting it. Because it's protected by the miners too. Like it is a very deep rabbit hole, the Bitcoin rabbit hole. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, that's so nice. That's such a nice way to look at it. Oh, is there any, I don't know anything about Bitcoin. Is there any estimation on how much Bitcoin is lost?
Yeah.
Well, yes, there's so much lost Bitcoin, and if I died today, there'd probably be a little bit more lost because I haven't.
You need to give. You need
Yes,
to
I know.
give me your
There's
key.
ways to do it with lawyers and stuff, but yeah, it's true. I'm saying it because it happens all the time, and every day Bitcoin gets more scarce that way too. So like when you lose your Bitcoin, that actually helps everybody in the network again, because now there's less.
Fuck.
Don't lose your Bitcoin.
No, honestly, so with that, we were just talking about that website Silk Road. You could it was like a online drugs, like a dark marketplace kind of. And they did a bunch of seizures, and it's and so much of it was in Bitcoin. It's so there's so much never to be seen again probably or used Bitcoin, because you can't do anything with those accounts, right? You have to know your password or that's it.
Well, yeah, here's the thing about that. So Bitcoin isn't a good tool for criminals. It's honestly not, because we said how transparent it is. Yeah. So they can clearly see when you're buying, everything's doing. So it's actually better to use cash to do all your drug dealing. And
for physical.
Activity.
But clarify what you just said.
Criminal activity happens is with cash.
Exactly. No, exactly. And you nailed that for sure. I don't even think anyone makes a significant association anymore. But what you just said was that they can see. So what some people don't know, on the Bitcoin website, you can see every transaction between every address that ever happens.
And it's not even the Bitcoin website. It's that's a cute way of putting it. That's good.
Right.
Because it's the Bitcoin blockchain is the new word. Woo! But yeah, it's the Bitcoin database. It's the Bitcoin's TD Bank has a database, and it says how much every account holds, and their database is stored all over the place, but we can't see it. Bitcoin's database is stored on my computer right in that closet, as well as 100,000 other computers all over the world. So we all store that same database like TD does, right? So everybody can see it, like you said. So a criminal, it is a really bad idea when I go buy drugs to give them Bitcoin, because now there's a transaction on that blockchain that everybody has. It's kind of like a website, but you're right, but a different thing.
Yeah.
But so essentially you could see criminal activity happening, but you how do you know who's it's associated?
You don't. Yeah, you can choose. Yeah, exactly. That's true though, because you can choose to show who you are on your profile or not. Yeah, it's just an address. It's untraceable.
So here's a crazy thing. Because of regulations and police, when you buy it on Coinbase required your passport and your ID to get the Bitcoin. So then when you send the Bitcoin off of Coinbase into your own possession, that wherever you send it, that address it can be Coinbase knows your name. So then if the police want, they can ask Coinbase for that information, and then a Coinbase has to legally give it. So that's how they're regulating it in an unregulated, because Bitcoin's not, it's just math. You can't really regulate it, but so they're trying.
Okay. So it's not a good idea.
No, they're trying to make it safe, and it is, because it's a quality tool of the future and a global economy, and a lot of people are very generous with Bitcoin because it's an early niche community as well, and the people using it for not good is they'll get weeded out.
It's very tiny, nothing. It's true. It's funny. It was when the internet first came out, it was there's porn, the church didn't like the internet, right? I was thinking, they're no, don't go on there. And then all of a sudden this year, they're Christian mingle's how I met my wife.
Yeah.
So it completely flipped, right? So
you got it.
It's the same with Bitcoin. It's it's criminals, that's bad. And then later on, it's oh, right, the banks are the criminals laundering money.
Yeah.
And there's stories about them laundering and getting caught, and millions and billions. And Bitcoin's not even worth that yet.
Yeah, they just pay their fines.
Just
Right? So it's like, it's such a corrupt system. Like they
we
make
have to change it.
billions.
Yeah.
And
All
then
right,
they
so
just pay it off.
Oh, hello, friends. I know that we talk a lot about processes and mindful virtues like meditation and affirmations a lot on this podcast, but it's always been my intention to actually give you the tools to do this yourself. And as our mindful practice expands, all of us, as we grow and learn together, we have put together a really exciting private workshop that we're going to do for 2 weeks that has custom affirmations and a bunch of other great stuff and a daily focus so you can do segment intendings for each of your days. So if you'd like to get on with this first very special exclusive workshop 2-week program, then hit us in the DMs on Instagram or simply tag us in the social media world. All right, so that's how you're gonna get at us for this course. We will send you an email with deets, and we're excited to expand with you. Let's get back to this conversation with Spandy.
Let's do a podcast. Let's do a podcast where we don't talk for a whole hour.
yeah, let's do that. Let's do a dead body pose, because you love yoga too. When did you find the hot series of yoga?
Well, yeah, like in life, it's weird. Like when you do something that's really, really challenging, like it's rewarding when you accomplish it. So when I first did the hot yoga series, it was like really, really difficult. So I was like, whoa, holy crap. But that had to have been good for me because wow, it was so hard. And I used all my muscles and my whole body. And like, so I knew it was like a really good thing to do right away. And so I got addicted to it right off the bat and became a member and just did it as much as I could really. And I even did it at like 4 classes in one day of 90-minute hot yoga. And I like made myself cry and kind of had this like different weird self-realizations too through it. So
yeah,
it's been a wild journey. I was like, what am I? Why do I have to be so the best? And why am I doing 4 classes? Like, what am I chasing even? And like questioning everything, and you're challenging yourself. And that's where like the true growth happens spiritually, in which that conversation can go into next.
Have you always been that's so brilliant? Yeah. Have you always been addicted to the hard thing? Because I like you, I'm addicted to the hard thing, but there's more people who are not. And a lot of motivational content is very successful because of that. And you got the knowledge early that if something has value, you have to work for it? Or what's the assumption there? What's the knowing that keeps you finding challenges like that? Because Winnie dragged me into Bikram yoga, fucking hot yoga or whatever. No shall not be named, whatever. You know, the rapey guy.
Totally. It's like it's like the thing was, like it's a challenge. You know, there are other ways to do it. You don't have to do it that way, but for some reason the heat mixed with, is it the women in outfits? No. It's the heat. No, it's like, I don't know, honestly, it was like the most challenging thing I could find when it came to like group fitness. Like think of all the different group fitness activities there are. After 90 minutes of Bikram yoga, you're like, yeah.
Exactly. It really, really wipes you out, but you get this like euphoric thing. And like the first half of every class is always like, because there's a standing series and then the ground series. And then the standing series is kind of like the warm up or the physical strength training and the stretching. But on the ground, you really start to pull your body in ways that you don't do often. So it's a holistic practice. If
it's
you think
truthful,
about it.
yeah, like because the hot yoga, like the instructor that shall not be named, he learned it from his instructor that shall be named, Yoga Daga. But no, you know what I mean? Like, this is like centuries and centuries of practice that we're actually doing. So it is we're all 26 different joints get moved and stuff. You probably know better about it, actually, Winnie, right?
Yeah, Winnie, why are we talking about it? Winnie is managed a yoga studio, his practice, but y'all actually found it at the same time.
Yeah, we went to the same studio.
Right, that is such a neat thing. So it aligns the certain type of people too. We have mutual friends through it and stuff, but
yeah. Did we all take a class together once?
Yeah, we've all taken a class before, but dude, Josh and Jenna, who you know in Alberta, sent Winnie to school, sent Winnie to yoga school.
Yeah.
And that's in you guys. So for those who don't know, Winnie and Spandy are both from Red Deer-ish. If you could say
Central Alberta.
If you could say that me and Seth Rogen were both from Vancouver, you could say that you guys were both from Red Deer-ish. Like he was
that's fine.
You know.
If Winnie wants, Sylvan Lake might have a nicer ring to it. I don't know.
A party town. Sylvan Lake, the party town.
Yeah.
But we all have bodies, and isn't yoga like connecting mind and body?
Yeah. I think that's the real benefit is like, I can tell now that I was so like crazy in my head about everything prior to yoga, and it like slows you down in a way that I still like can't like redo outside of the class. Like I haven't found anything that does what this specific class does for my brain. And like once you start connect, I was in class today and I wasn't pushing myself too hard. But I was really focused on breathing. It was just one of those classes where you're like physically drained and you're going to do exactly what you can, but you're usually not going too deep into the posture because that feels as much as you can sustain.
So what's mental health for you?
Oh, absolutely. It's always been.
Actually, that's what it actually is. It's true. And that's what I mean when I shared my story of crying. I guess it's almost like, because it's like, it was a mental thing and breakthroughs. It would not just physically, actually. Sure. And it's because it pushes you so physically though too. And like, you do have to remember, just breathe. It's going to be fine. Like stay present to your breath and then you'll get through it. And the power of breath, I'm still practicing that because then it led me into Wim Hof is even my most latest practice after yoga. Yeah. But it's the same style of thing, is coming into the moment present. And that's kind of what hot yoga does, because the room's so hot and you're already getting in sync and doing those breaths right off the bat. It is very much about focusing on your breath for 90 minutes.
Yeah. And there's this whole level of like having to look at yourself for an hour or 90 minutes when we started, but there's hour variations now. Like I remember being in training and like there was a class that a teacher started. She was like, oh, like before we begin practice, I want you to look at yourself and like tell yourself something that you love about yourself. And like in that moment, I was just not in a great place and I couldn't think of a single thing. Like I couldn't think of one thing. And that made me so sad. So it wasn't even like, it was the fact that I couldn't think of one thing that was making me feel so sad. Yeah. And it was such a great breakthrough though, because at that moment I was like, okay, I gotta sort this out. Like this can't be the way that I live. Like if I'm living in a way that I don't love myself, like some things need to change.
The practice presented you with the opportunity for self-reflection that you would have never have gotten unless you did that.
And it continues. Like I had a huge breakthrough the other day about like the sides of my body and like the ailments that happen on one side of my body as opposed to the other. Like I'm not going to go in depth into it because I haven't fully processed it myself, but like that happened in yoga class where I was like, holy shit, I have been ignoring this. How have I been ignoring this?
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
Hemispherical awareness. Yeah. And where you store your energy.
I don't know if it's really challenging, but I want to have like that awareness of and presence of my body and like my posture 24/7. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's realistic though, but like that's the dream.
Because you got to think of other things. Like when you're on the computer, your head is in the program. Like when it comes to like mixing or editing or whatever, it's like, fuck, even investing, like your body can get tense because your head is so in it. And you really gotta get back to the breath.
But that practice of breathing, like when you like notice yourself like hunched over in your work at your desk and you're like, oh fuck, like take a deep breath, roll those shoulders back, lift your chin, look 20 meters away for 20 seconds is what my optometrist tells me to do.
Right. No, it's true though. It's crazy how important this practice we talk about, but like I think it's so natural, because if you go back just 1,000 years in the like so many thousands of years of evolution, we want to at least live a little more natural, which would have been like in the moment, like
totally.
We wouldn't have had so much stuff going on and planning and calendars and craziness.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of option and a lot of choice available to us now.
There's so much anxiety.
And that takes up some brain power.
Okay, like I had a birthday party here just the other day, and the kid just had to let me know like that they're anxious, and it's like, that's totally normal. Like one time I went to my cousin's house and I was nervous to see my cousins. It's not a big deal. It's so cute, but yeah, it's a natural human process.
Yeah. It's nice though. Good for that kid for like expressing and
and that's the key. That's all that you have to do is just communicate it. And I think it was like good parenting, letting parent told the kid just write it in a note too, and the kid gave me a note, and it was like, yeah. So yeah, it's crazy how like everybody deals with it, and it is almost on the rise because of the situations going on right now.
Yeah, and we're out of practice. That's what I realized last week. I should have just FaceTime you, but I just went through it solo. Winnie was away in Alberta, and I got caught in the anxiety mental cycle of like having to travel again, because I'm going to LA in September, and just all this new stuff that you got to do, and sometimes it can feel like this format or these new strict scare rules or this new big situation that we all got to go into, no matter what it is kind of like against you, where it's like you kind of get nervous about like, how am I gonna go against this thing? And then you realize like, this is just kind of everyone trying their best. Like this is, you got to do something. You can't do nothing after what just happened. Like whether or not, if it's like has its limitations of being useful actually, like on a pragmatic level or not, like it's like that's irrelevant. There has to be some sort of process for people who have questions and who are, concerned or whatever. So when you just end up thinking like, be in harmony with this thing, the anxiety seems to slip away. Even if it's doing a show, it can feel like us against the audience sometimes. But it's not. We're just there to entertain them. They want to be entertained. Like there's, like this is all together in harmony. And you can breathe the anxiety out and remember that this is all happening for us. This is happening for us.
Well, yeah, like that's why that practice, you can actually bring it outside the studio, the breathing thing, a lot easier. And then like, even sometimes I'll be doing a performance and it's like, wait, like.
Well, that's the thing that you learn in this practice, this specific yoga practice, is that like sustaining these postures, because it's not a flow like vinyasa or sometimes Ashtanga, I believe is, but like, it's a stagnant posture one at a time that you hold for a certain amount of time. And to be able to hold it, you cannot not breathe. Like I've been teaching for 10 years now. Like I know when people are holding their breath, and it is literally not sustainable to to stay in the posture then. So if you're going to grow in the practice, you need to learn how to feel sort of some type of intensity within your body, heart rate's coming up, you know, heat's at you, maybe some sweat's coming in your eye. And instead of falling out of the posture and being like, but all of these elements are driving me crazy, you're going to take a big breath. You're going to take a big breath and you're going to stretch forward more and you're going to kick a little bit harder and you're going to find your focus and balance in a moment that feels chaotic. And I think that is such a like an important, valuable tool to have outside of the studio.
That's like, it's like discipline. It's a weird thing that you're growing. That's discipline. The muscle that needs to be practiced. You're putting yourself, like, you almost feel like you're going to die, but no, you just like, keep breathing, just one more, like, fight. And then you bring that strength into the real world. And then when anxiety hits you in the real world, and like, I just lost a gig as of today, like today was a crushing day in personal areas and in business. Actually, it was crazy. I was like, holy crap. Like, it's comical now because it just never ends in life. The roller coasters of up and downs. And like, the listeners probably don't know too. I was like engaged in another country, right?
Yeah.
And I've switched and everything. So like, life can twist and turn you so hard that like, you always come back to that super duper foundation of the present moment, of being thankful for the breath you have right now. It's like,
my dog.
Thank you for this. And that's it. That's the foundation always that you come to, like whether it's in my stand-up comedy or balloon or working with kids or a birthday party now, it's like any anxiety that builds up, it's like, thankful to be here present. Hey, I'm thankful to talk to you guys. Wow. Hey, I might have been nervous to be on a podcast, but look, it's fine. Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Like, God, nice, right?
Gratitude.
And like, life is so freaking precious. It really is. It's like, we can't appreciate it all. I know. Don't miss a cloud. Look at all the clouds. Don't miss one.
But what you're saying is I feel like what you're saying and what you've sort of come to is that you're not only appreciating the perceivably good moments, but you've also found appreciation for these moments that kind of rip your heart out, you know, like it is in a way comical after you process it a little bit more, but it's almost like, wow, what a ride we're on here.
Yeah,
like,
it's intense.
And like, it's like, you have to finally like admit you don't know, like you're only in control of basically your breath, which is a cool thing. Like, that is what you do.
Yes. That's what I was going to say. The things that you perceivably lost today, because I went through a little bump too over the past like week or two. And it's like, dude, you got to know that these perceivable limitations in this moment, or like what seems is like going against you, something is working itself out for either a much better version or like making way or saving you some sort of heavier thing, you know, like
or
there's
just
this
a
trust.
learning experience that you need.
You know what's really cool is like,
it's
it
blessed.
doesn't even have to have a thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. Like, we do make up the stories, and that is so freeing. Like, we'll try to find a correlation for things or certain things, but it's just like, that's already overthinking again. And that's kind of where the anxiety comes when you start learning anxiety's thinking, right?
Right.
So,
but just to put like a positive spin on it creatively, because you can really get lost in like the consequence. At least in my situation, I was focusing on the loss or the perceivable lack of something that I was expecting. And then it's like, well, as you say, anxiety thinks, so it wants to dig a hole in there, but I kind of like redirect my creative energy to like, well, it's probably a good thing, you know, and then it helps me move forward.
Story that way.
Yeah,
but the
it's
best thing like about yoga and breathing is it's so freaking hard. You don't even have time to make a story, right? You can't even like, you're just like, I just need to live. Like, I just need to make it through this posture.
Basic
right now,
survival.
Right?
Yeah.
And that is the trick. It's like, you can't think about all this crap.
One thing at a time.
And not to like love on it even harder, but it is like a more accessible class to like a wider audience
It's
than
a
some
beginners.
yoga
Yeah.
practices are, the way that it's structured. So like if you're thinking you want to get into yoga but don't know where to start, that might be a good place, everyone.
And yes, great. I'd love if people did it. It was always a challenge to get a lot of people in my everyday life to do that practice with me, because it is. So a lot of people are kind of avoiding that too, but they have the opportunity.
I want to come teach it at your studio.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that would be awesome. That's a great idea. I'm slowly adding classes as I grow here, and it's good. Yeah. I am a little nervous about the COVID stuff too, so I'm gonna play it easy for the rest of this year, I guess.
Yeah,
But
fair.
I'm hoping to, figure out do I need to add humidity? It's pretty dry out here in Alberta.
Oh, I know. I mean, no, it can still be done even in like room temperature. So if we got a couple of space heaters, like we could totally heat it up.
Yeah, get some space
I
heaters.
have a furnace. Well, I have I can crank the furnace hot.
There you go. Yeah, that'll still get people sweating for sure, because it's your breath that really like does that.
Okay, good, nice.
What's
actually a humidifier, I guess I could add if I wanted.
Yeah, that would be nice. What's been your most popular class that you've been doing at the studio so far?
So like I've been performing in festivals on the weekends, which is great because I'm right in the middle of Calgary and Edmonton, close to Red Deer. So I have like this coming weekend, Friday, I'm going to a place called Lac La Biche, which is actually north of Edmonton. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm in Red Deer. And then I'm coming to the studio for a class I've created called Fun Fitness, which like Richard Simmons is my inspiration. Basically the next generation of him here. Yes. So it's this happy, like it's my energy that matters. I know already.
Can you show us a couple moves? Like what a small series of your exercises for the Fun Fitness class would be?
Well, it's just so simple so that anybody can do it. So of course you're like marching, so the beat's like like, so that's like the foundation. And then of course it's like you got to pump it up. Go pump it up. And then it's like, yeah, we can do both. And then it's like, oh yeah, work it. That's put it in front. Yeah. Oh wait. Like you just don't, and you don't even realize it right now. You've just worked different angles with your arms this way. You've done it this way, right? And then it's like, get those shoulders, guys. Come on. They're missing out. Nice. Oh, and bring it back. Yeah, yes, great. And I know you're in your chairs, but we can still raise the roof. Boom.
Yep.
Oh, bring it down to that bicep curl. Damn, flex, baby. Oh, mishmash. Give me some attitude. Yeah.
That is fun. Oh,
how long is it? How long is this class?
So I do it, it's like a 45-minute aerobics, basically. So I'd say the closest thing to it that most people have done is Zumba. Like it's like instead of Latin music and specifically doing like cha-cha, rumba, I just do like you saw basic marching, two-step. Is there a jazzercise? I think it's called.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you also offer Zoom classes, yes?
Yes, so you can take this same class that I'm doing with, and I always have people live in studio now. It's fun. It's kind of like that 90s dance show that used to be on TV. So if you come into my Zoom class on Tuesdays, I have it in the corner and you can actually see me and then my students live, and we're doing the class. You can join that way.
And what time is that?
It's 7 p.m. in Alberta, which makes it different everywhere. I believe it would be 9 p.m. in Toronto, so it is late.
I think that's 7 p.m. Central Time, I think, for anyone who's looking to join.
Or Mountain, isn't it?
Is it Mountain?
It's not Pacific. That's too
What?
far. I think it's not.
Well, what time is it Pacific then? So for Vancouver and LA, what time is it?
Oh, 6.
6.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
So
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock for Vancouver
PST.
and LA.
Yes.
PST.
9 o'clock EST. Figure it out.
Figure it out in between. Cool, man. I'm so what?
Oh, it's like it's important to like build that, like that repeat schedule here. Like everybody locally knows like Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7, but I got to figure out how to make it for the internet time.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you do like a replay?
Could you do it? Would a 24-hour clock be better? No, I don't know.
No, yeah, because then you go GMT. Like, no, this is the struggle.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
mean, I'm happy that you've manifested your energy into a healthy regime of fitness,
Yeah.
like fun fitness. Like I feel you in that.
Can't wait to take an in-person class with you.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
I know it's so much better in person, I'd say.
Yeah.
You gotta do that. Fun fitness. So one last thing is I had these photos done quite a while ago, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't it look like I'm popping out of a balloon?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was kind of predicting the future.
Yeah, that was your vision board.
Exactly. It was right there and I didn't even know it. Like, that's the thing we don't know. Like I want to finish with that really strongly is like nobody knows anything. That's the bottom line is like we all think we know right now. We're all talking like it, but the truth is we're not in control and we don't. And that's nice and that's great.
Yeah.
We're equalized that way because we're all gonna die and we all can't control like the mega universe. We just have to experience it.
Yeah, and then use your breath to experience it in a more stable way.
Yeah, like all we have is right now. So like I know when this phone call ends too, like it's gonna feel a little bit down on my side because it's like I had all this good connection. Because it's such a nice, like you're filling my connection love tank. And then when I hang up, it's like guess I'll play our video.
Yes.
So yeah, great talking with you guys, and I'll just try to stay present to my breath. That's like I'm glad we talked about it because it's important.
Yeah. Now, before you run away, I know you said you gotta go. You gotta go be sad, but let me ask you this. Oh, say hi to Ben. Let me see Ben again.
Baby.
Oh my God.
You've been cooking quite a bit.
Yeah, I should do that too. I know you're someone that we could cook together one day, but you do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Yeah, dude, I want to definitely cook in your beautiful kitchen. So you're living in this studio. So you really brought like your like dream to life. Like this experience that you built, like this building was built for you, right?
Yeah, so it's crazy. Like I was living in Vancouver, Canada, kind of like just when COVID hit, trying to figure it out because there's lots going on there for me. And it was so expensive to live monthly. Like the rent was with a dog too, is like minimum $1,500, and that's not even downtown.
Oh yeah,
so like that was like way out in Langley. So I was paying like $1,500 basement suite in Langley. So I wasn't even able to like get to the city half the time because it's like you're stuck in traffic for an hour or two. So then it was just like, whoa, where's this money even going? And like that investment side of me, right? Like I don't want, everybody kind of learns that a bit with rent too. It's hard. You want to get out of the rent race, right? So
yeah,
it was the best opportunity financially was to come to a small town, Alberta, because the prices of land here is very cheap, like compared to anywhere in BC and even like near Toronto, as you guys know, right? So I ended up like affordability, I ended up coming out here and building my own dream space, because it was actually the best way to invest my money. Because now this is all a write-off. This is my business. I run a business in it, and it's my home. So it's like
It's
the
so
smartest
perfect.
decision.
It's so
And then,
perfect.
I
Like
can cook it here.
Like, look how beautiful this kitchen is.
And this is all used, like, I bought all this silver appliances used, and like you hauled it myself and stuff. I'm proud to.
Dude,
of, like,
I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy to think of you there. And you're cooking steaks. You're doing this teriyaki steak, because you were even thugging out in Vancouver, where you brought Spandy to this like this restaurant for a minute, and then did you start seeing food there? Or I just love that you're cooking now in your beautiful new kitchen, in your studio, in your dream studio.
Thanks. Yeah, I know. I want to keep like, food is such an important part of our lives. It's every day, right? Yeah. And then the cooking actually was a great way to connect with my mom, because she was the cook all my life. And then she's like, it's a nice way for us to actually have something to do. Because it's like I don't think my brother and my mom even talk that much, because it's like, no, you need like make something, like, okay, if we're cooking together now, like, we have something to do, and then we can still like talk and catch up. So it was actually like a great way to just connect with my mom like more. And now I just love to cook.
That's so beautiful, man. It seems like you really have your priorities set and straight, and like you're in a really beautiful place.
Yeah, thanks. I know, like, yeah, it is priorities, is of just being thankful, right? Like that, putting that at the top. And then, like, I just found out, as you get older, you realize more people die in your life too, or you have a friend or someone you know that went through it.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, holy crap, man, like, we're gonna lose our parents, no question, one day. So like, that's, yeah, it's harsh. It's like there's a morbid side of Spandy Andy. It's really weird. It's like that whole thing is like, we're gonna die anyway, so we need to really enjoy now.
Dude, you're so on point with that, because honestly, I gotta say, you wear it even brighter than I do, and that's why you've always been a shining star in my mind, like with me as we grow as friends and performers. But like, yeah, like having this positive attitude as well that people notice, like with me, I'm fairly optimistic. I end up getting to the point of telling them hard truths as well, is because I came from a perspective that was like extremely dark, and like and almost felt trapped and limited, to the point where it's like, no, you got to make the fucking choice. This shit is choice. Right. This is not like, you can't play with your time. Like, if you want to have a good time, you got to like wake the fuck up and like be grateful, like right now. And it sounds harsh, you're right, but it's like, time's gonna pass, people are gonna die, this shit's gonna wrap up. Welcome to center stage, baby. Like, but it's intense, right? You can't say that to just everyone, but in our deep truth,
you know why though, is that sometimes can contribute to the anxiety. It's like, okay, well, if I am only had a certain amount of time here, then like, I better do everything, like, and then like we get influenced by the constructs of what we grew up in, and then sometimes I think that we don't.
But no, that should be fuel to do the opposite of all that shit. It should be the fuel to prioritize yourself, like Spandy. But dude, you were in an interesting situation in Texas where you had, it was the most domesticated I had seen this bright, shiny star, friend of mine. But you were enjoying, you were compliant, you were in love. But you know, even that, it naturally booted you. You couldn't even go against it, even with your full compliance for so like as long, like you can't do it. Like, you can't live against the grain. Like, in your truth, when you're living it, it will draw, you know, some sort of extreme swing, I think, out of your experience one way or another.
Yeah, like, well, like, who knows? I had no idea I'd end up here even now. And then I know that for sure in 10 years, I have no idea. Like, of course, there's probabilities with everything. So you can be like, maybe most likely you'll be in Toronto or even North America, but like, you don't know, like someone offers you guys something on the other side of the planet, or like even situations in the world with COVID, like anything can happen. We don't know in 10 years, and it's better to like not know than like try to make it. That's like part of this, right?
So to let go.
Yeah, just we're just always letting go is the forever practice again. It's like letting go.
That's
of the
so
thought.
hard. It's so hard to let go, because naturally we see something or imagine something or come to a conclusion, and it's like that's the thing. That'll be the thing. No, like it's like kind of how we're talking all this shit about like, you know, making choices and being positive. It's like, so when we know it's a bad thought, how do we get away from it? How do you swim against the current?
It's funny because like as soon as a bad thought comes up, it's kind of cheating, but I just compare it to something else, which isn't the right way of doing it either. Like you put no value to anything, but then like I'll compare it to like, what my grandparents went through, of course. And then I'm like, wait a second, this isn't bad.
Right, so it could always be worse.
Yeah, which isn't the best way of doing it, but it's like, that's kind of the truth is like, are you dead? You kind of start at the foundation. It's like, first is like, is this a life or death situation? Like that's maybe the only time to even really be serious.
Yeah.
It's like, in this moment right now, is someone gonna die, whether you make a decision? Then maybe that's when I'll be serious. But any other time, like, good luck.
I love it, bro.
That's for sure gonna be the sound bite.
You're fucking amazing, dude. Good luck. Good luck. You made a choice. You made a choice, and you're committed to it, and that is really the juice. That's like
the juice.
That's the trick. But it's like having the confidence to keep it going and having the energy to keeping it going. That is the follow through is made of those two things. And yeah, man, you're just made of life to do that. So fucking, I look forward to seeing you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's an up and down thing, just like always, right? So it's great. The roller coaster ride. We always realize too, it'd be so boring if we did control it anywhere.
Sure. Yeah. So. And if you're on a downswing,
guess what's next?
Yeah.
Oh no, we're going up. It's so true. Nice. I'm so happy you said that, because I had like this weird opposite one. I was like on a real big high once, and I was like, remember, you're gonna be down. I was like, don't enjoy this too much now. Be smart.
No, you have to max it out. It's worth it.
I like it on the other side too. Like when he said, when you're down, like, oh, this means there's an up.
Yeah. And I think it's, to what you said though, I think it's important to acknowledge that there will be another down, but only to fuel that like excitement that you feel in your up. Right. Yeah. You're like, oh, fuck it. I know that it's coming, so I'm gonna like live the shit out of this.
Really?
Here's the best feeling though, is like the knowing of that gives you a stronger center, because you're less thinking that this is the permanent reality when it's going good, and you're less thinking that this is the permanent reality when it's going bad. You're more in the center because you're like, shit happens, and then something good happens. You're like, cool shit happens, you know.
And so nothing's permanent, yogis would say, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, okay, we got to play this game. Let's do it.
And if you're watching this ad on Winnie's YouTube channel / Discipline Stunners YouTube channel, please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends. You guys can do it together. Maybe like a little, oh, hey, how is your custom affirmations audio production done by 11? Oh, mine's cool. What frequency did he put with yours, depending on what exactly your specific intention is for this course? Oh, fun. And you guys can compare and make it like a fun, friendly thing. Anyway, good to see you again. Let's get back to this combo with Spandy.
Yeah.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Okay, so I do a portion of the podcast. Well, I do a segment, let's call it, and it's called Fun Facts with Winnie. And
Fun fact with Winnie.
And 11 and I always intro it, like improv the intro.
Make a song.
We make like a little song, like
Okay.
fun fact. And we always like to invite our guest to make the song instead.
What would be best is probably if you put on a beat and freestyle the intro.
All right. I put on a beat.
Yeah, because you know how the time lag.
Yeah.
So you toss a beat on and give us a couple bars. It's Winnie's fun fact, and she's always talking about fun facts and learning things and
everything like that.
Spandy freestyles, like he pushed me to dance and I pushed him to rap, and he's been doing great over the decade of practice.
Yeah, I know.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. I know the more you do it, right? Always the better. So I typed hip hop instrumental. Should I write copyright free or something so that doesn't get taken down, right?
Yes, please. Thank you. See?
No, there it says no copyright songs.
All right, hit us with the intro.
You ready? Yeah, you ready to have some fun? Yeah. Well, here's a way. Facts with Winnie. That's the way to have fun when you have facts with Winnie. Everybody's number one. Facts with Winnie. Yeah, it feels really great. Tonight I got a date. It's Facts with Winnie. Hey. Okay. Ask me a question. I got a fact and an erection. Hey, sorry, sometimes you just have to say the words that come out, right? You know, I got freestyle in here, okay? That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what's meant to happen. That's beautiful. Thank
that was
you.
bravo.
Here's
taught by the best. He would have said, "I just let the word out." You know? Other people would have.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah,
It's beautiful. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we're that's great. It's not like we're at like a non-taboo
Right.
podcast.
Yeah.
You know, we accept it all.
True.
Here we go. Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. Today's fun fact. The dancing plague of 1518 was a mania that lasted a month and killed dozens of people in Strasbourg, France, through exhaustion or heart attack. People just danced uncontrollably until they collapsed. One other famous case involved people dancing on a bridge. Eventually, so many people danced that they broke the bridge and fell into the river.
Is that the song "They All Fall Down"? London Bridge? No, that's something else.
Whoa.
Crazy. That's insane. I didn't realize they did it to exhaustion like that.
But you know, from all that we know now, when people want to reemerge back into non-physical, that may have been the path of least resistance for them, and dancing felt good while they did it. So they're having a great time.
It's the thing. If you do end up passing away having a good time, that seems like a good way to do it.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so wonderful. That was a beautiful fact, Winnie. So I do this little segment called Do the Tao, which started from me pulling from the book called Tao Te Ching, which is like one of the most profound books ever written by Lao Tzu. It's just like, and no one even really knows who Lao Tzu is, just like Satoshi. I've switched to this one by my favorite writer, Neville Goddard, and it's called The Awakened Imagination. So I usually get our beautiful guests to pick a number between a certain page and a certain page, and we're gonna go. Can you please pick
11?
Exactly. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's an option.
It is, because I literally just turned to it.
What?
As you said it. So there you go.
Yeah,
It says chapter 2, sealed instructions. So it's just start as chapter 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it. Sealed instructions. The first power that meets us at the threshold of the soul's domain is the power of imagination. Dr. Franz Hartmann. I was first made conscious of the power, nature, and redemptive function of imagination through the teachings of my friend Abdullah. And through subsequent experiences, I learned that Jesus was a symbol of the coming of imagination to man. That the test of his birth in man was the individual's ability to forgive sin. That is, his ability to identify himself or another with his aim in life. Without the identification of man with his aim, the forgiveness of sin is an impossibility, and only the Son of God can forgive sin. Therefore, man's ability to identify himself with his aim through reason and his senses deny it is proof of the birth of Christ in him. To passively surrender to appearances and bow before the evidence of facts is to confess that Christ is not yet born in you.
Oh, cool.
Wow. So no, the Tao Chow guy was after Christ, obviously.
This is not the This is not Lao Tzu. This is Neville Goddard.
Okay.
But
Neville is still alive.
No, he was from the 1950s. But essentially what they're saying is the chapter 2 is called Sealed Instructions. So it's like they're saying that the imagination, right? Like the awareness to have our chief aim in life. So manifest your desire. So like use your imagination to think of something better and to like waste that power. Oh, it's just 11:11 when I said that.
Well, yeah, it's like, it's an interesting thing. I had this conversation because in Trocher, it's a very religious community. So my neighbor across the alley actually brought up, he's like, he's like, you have to believe in Jesus because like he sinned for you. So it's funny, like you just said the same little sin thing too. And it's like, it's really important to them, this because he sinned for me. So but it's more like the story of it. Like you don't have to use the word Christ, but you have to, I guess when you have the awareness of yourself and that you did something wrong, that you can label it Christ or you can label it whatever you want. But you have that feeling inside that I guess you sinned, and that's
to forgive, right?
That.
So sin could be like a distraction or something, just like not like living your best life. So like I think this is pointing towards his ability to identify himself or another with his aim in life. So using your imagination to create your studio and like do your thing, as opposed to just like, giving in to, living in Langley. You know what I mean? Like that was considered like
that would have been sinning then.
Yeah,
kind of thing?
because like in this context,
because you're going against yourself.
You're
like you're trying to make something work that's not working, instead of like taking a moment to like figure out what is going to work.
It's connecting you to your higher power essentially. But like, yeah, I know how there's so much conflict in the duality. I also don't resonate with it, but just to understand for what it is and saying that like, it's just a symbol. That's what it says, that this whole Jesus thing was a symbol of the coming of imagination to man. So meaning we're not just monkeys anymore that are basically doing the basic things. It's like, our imaginations, we can do things. We can stimulate ourselves. Essentially what you and I always FaceTime about is like God force, like just use the energy inside you.
Also, like back in the day when it was just a lot different than it is now, and people like had to kill other people sometimes, like in order to survive, like maybe they didn't feel so good about that, and then they didn't know how to like handle those feelings, and then someone was like, just tell God, like, and you're fine,
let it go.
And the human being was like, what? I can just say it to like this thing, and then I can be like rid of this emotion. Because we didn't know how to like process emotions at that point. Like we were still just in first 3 chakra base modes, figuring it out, evolving.
This guy is science. So this guy is like science-based. So most of the times he mentioned any Christian stuff, he was trying to educate the people who were lost to the language of religion and kind of under that power structure of that.
Well, like I know that anybody that doesn't believe in Christianity reading that would probably be off put a little bit.
Oh, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like, cause I was one of them, right? Like,
you have Christian roots.
Well, I confirmed like Catholic. Yeah. But like, so you learn about it, but it doesn't resonate. You're not understanding what it means because it's not taught to you in the context that this is all fucking symbols. Like this is new age self-help on another level of storytelling narrative. None of this fucking shit happened, you stupid idiots. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like this is not actually happening, you dumb. This is like a fucking metaphor. It's a metaphor. You gotta like accept for what it is and like the light within you. Yeah, dude, consciousness, like it just like wants to express infinitely. So it's like we gotta build constructs around the story.
They even say like Christ consciousness.
Well, it just means the awakened imagination in the person, right? But it's like, dude, there is so much baggage to even the way you react, and I'm glad you did, so we could have this conversation. The baggage associated, you know, with that whole program is not worth it most of the time. But honestly, there is a lot of hidden gems in the Bible that if you look at it from the inner temple stuff, like Judaism, all of them have fucking mad game in them. And it's just like, how well can you train your mind to listen and perceive in a way that's helpful to you and not get so caught in the fucking fine details and certainly not start wars over them and certainly not try to control anyone.
I think that's where it's going for sure. I think that, again, they found this book. We were still evolving. Like, think about how much we knew back then.
They manipulated it.
And they found this book and they were like, fuck, shit, like, I'm gonna take this shit literal. Like
they didn't even know what it meant.
Yeah.
They're like, everything in here is I'm going to translate it into something that I can like physically understand.
Yeah.
So like,
and then over hundreds of years and generations, like every 30 years is a new generation, or even like 25. Telephone tag.
And I think actually the more people that become comfortable with that type of language, but they are like more like intuitively guided with it rather than what they've learned or what they have perceived to be based on what they've seen. I think that it'll be less so like third dimensional physical, like power is outside of me. And like, if something bad happens to me, you know, must be because I did something bad. It'll be like, oh, if something bad happens to me, it's because of my emotional state. Like, where have I been? You know, I need to take a look at myself.
Yeah, it's true. It's weird because when you translate a lot of the stuff, it's actually you find it in yourself is finding like God. Finding comfort, like in your breath, and like what we're talking about is kind of what even I think they were trying to get at, right?
Totally.
We're still talking about the same thing.
That's why I think also, Spandy, like that something that makes you special is that like when you watch you dance, when audience watches you dance, like there you do see God in you, like you're shining. Like it's hard to even explain.
Yes, no, I know
like,
this.
What you look like when you're dancing.
Oh, dude, you should see what it's like being next to him as he's radiating pure joy, connecting with people. You open your heart chakra, and what your original origins of religion would say, the Merkaba, the double star thing, your energy form expands, and like you really do tap into what would be documented as God.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so trippy. Like, one time I was performing at English Bay in Vancouver, and like a guy wrote an article about it and said I was like preaching a sermon type of thing. He thought I was like, you know, I was bringing the community together and everything, and like accepting everyone, and like he said that too. And then now that I think about it, these classes I have, like
congregation. congregation.
I play like the best music too. Like it's just like, even I did a rah Rasputin last class. I was like rah, and like you said, that God energy or whatever. It's true. It's almost like I even lose where I am. Like I'll come back to, and I'll be like, shit, I better pay attention to my students. Like,
yes.
I'm not even here.
I know this feeling.
Yeah.
Freestyling, you just go into the infinite loop. That's flow state. Yeah. That's what we ultimately try to teach. I think all of us collectively, like, no matter what our mediums are, we want to share that gift of flow state, because you are free and everything evaporates and you're just in with it. And it's such a gift.
It's true. It's crazy, that flow state. And then like the music is both in that too. It's like a powerful thing. Like music is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's its own spiritual thing, like the rhythm, right? Something about a rhythm.
Yeah, because there is
like all hypnotic.
There's a natural frequency and rhythm to life too, and it's like whatever frequency we're on, we resonate with that pace, that length of melody, or how lost you can get in that kind of time, that timeless space where you're just like in constant mode of expression. You have some select dance moves.
Well, like it's like there's something like people like raving in certain beats and others don't, but for some reason, because it says there's something like when your brain learns a pattern, it's kind of like excited once it knows the pattern.
Yes.
And then like, yeah, with all the dance moves, it's the same thing. So like once your body learns that dance move, that pattern, that rhythm, then you just don't have to think about it anymore. Like at first you kind of program it in, is how I think of it as a computer guy. And then once it's in there, you don't even have to think anymore, right? It just does it. And then that's that flow state naturally. And then scientifically, they like when you're exercising too, of course, we're releasing all those happy chemicals too. So of course we don't realize it when we're in our depressed state, but we can actually even produce the chemicals ourselves. We could also take a pill, which is totally fine too, but like we also have this great tool of just exercising to release all kinds of chemicals in our body, like naturally. So you don't know it though when you're in the dark clouds though, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard.
But that's why it's important to recognize when you're out of the dark clouds, and like that's the time to start. Like don't make excuses, because the more that you can practice that habit, the easier it's going to be to say, you know, when you're in the darkness, it's going to be easier to say, listen, I'm going to try and do something about this today. You've developed that muscle.
Yeah.
And that takes practice. And don't feel bad if you don't get there also. Like, you know, take your time.
I know, everybody, it's great. This is a muscle, and like that yoga is training us like to be disciplined when we get that discomfort to push through and stuff. And work at it. And just try your best. It's so funny. It is so simple. It seems right now, but I'm sure someone watching has like some perspective, or listening has some perspective that's like, but they don't get me. I have bills or something, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
Like, no, you can. Trust me, anyone listening, you can change your life entirely, completely. And it naturally can happen too, if you want, or you can stay the same, but like, don't worry, whatever you're thinking, it's not important, truthfully. It's like, you're putting a lot of value on something, and they're like, no, it has value. You don't know me. It's like, I know, because it doesn't unless it's life or death, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. And just like spending less mental energy there in those places, and just freeing up a little bit of time for like dream time, or like whatever you want to do. But instead of like, because everyone's realities are true. So like you can't like insert any type of
everyone's reality,
like behavior trait into anyone, and everyone's going to think just what they want to think, and that's always going to be true for as long as they think it. So like,
that's bars. That's crazy bars. Everyone's reality is true.
To them,
yeah. So like, you know,
It's crazy
you
though,
got to
like,
make your own decisions and just like
it's so
feel good about
insane, though,
those.
because like you and I can look at, there's a simple meme where it's like the number 6 written on the ground, but then you're on the opposite side looking at it, so it's the number 9 to you, right? So like we're both looking at the same thing and we're both right, and I'm saying it's a 6 and you're saying it's a 9, so it's like there's more than one right reality, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes people they like to use the word reality as like, come back to reality where
Yeah.
everybody is.
Definite.
Man.
It's so
Like,
it's like
They
no
think
room
it's less
for
scary.
openness.
They think it's
Yeah.
less scary because they think they know, right? Like everybody knows.
Yeah.
No, nobody
Get to
knows.
reality, it's like your reality, because that, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
people really want often is they want you to find you know, their point of view. I think when someone says come back to reality, meaning don't you understand my perspective? That's like what they mean to ask, but they just don't have the capacity or like intellectual tools to request that. So it's like the better way if you're trying to communicate is like, do you understand my perspective though? Like, you know, like that's a good way to ask that, because then you actually, instead of trying to convince someone and tell them that your singular idea is right, you are like saying, hey, will you entertain this other perspective that I know isn't yours right now with me? And like,
Yeah, exactly. There's
light
so
exchange.
many perspectives. There's actually infinite, and it's so much better. Like there's infinite right answers. So
Right?
you are right. Like, so it's like I can't argue.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, yeah, everyone just gets there on their own time. And that's cool too. Hopefully, this conversation encourages some people to get out of their comfort zone
And have some conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to play, unless you had anything else to say about it.
Yep, no, that's it. Let's play.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Play.
This has been yeah, exactly. That's our thing. Okay, this has been such a great conversation. I want to cap it off with a speed round. So when I ask you these quick things, just go ahead and answer with the quickest thing you can. The first thing comes to your mind. You ready?
Yeah, speed round.
Okay. You sure? Okay. Here we go.
Fast. Go.
Okay. Favorite stoner moment?
Dad playing in the park as a kid.
Favorite concert moment?
Oh, Insane Clown Posse and Red Deer getting Fago shot all over me.
Oh, favorite Insane Clown Posse song?
Oh, wow. I guess the game show.
Yeah, that was so funny. Favorite potato chip?
Ketchup.
Ooh, Lay's?
If you want to go branded.
If you want to, right? Yeah, right. We got to get that sponsorship money. Okay. Favorite movie moment?
Oh, I guess Roxbury when the guys get accepted. Then like when anything goes good for them, like anytime they dance with the kid, like they're like, we got a number.
Oh my God, that was one of my favorite movies too, bro. I'm just realizing now how much our fun duo times that we've had was a small reincarnation of that.
I know, it's kind of trippy. Like
I'm the
some of
Will
these
Ferrell.
movies. Yeah.
Holy
It's like,
shit!
I know, and they even walk down the beach in like Speedos in one scene too. So
Fuck, dude, we nailed that.
Pause speed round.
Pause speed round. Cooking.
oh shit. Is that food round over there?
Should I keep going?
Yes.
Okay. Favorite song from the 90s?
Everybody dance now.
Was that the 90s?
I believe so. Or was that 80s?
Favorite song? It may have been 80s. Favorite song from 2000s?
From 2000s, Party Rock, LMFAO.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Party Rock, LMFAO.
Oh, of course, that's yeah.
Favorite sandwich?
I would say that peanut butter jelly with bananas.
What? You put all 3 of them on?
Yeah, you haven't done that?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, try it out. It's great. I mean, you don't need to, but
No, I'm definitely going to try it. It sounds delicious. It sounds like a banana split or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's good because the jelly helps you, the peanut butter go down still, right?
Favorite vacation spot?
Mexico now, yeah. Puerto Vallarta area.
Nice. Yeah, beautiful there. Beautiful sunset.
Yeah, perfect quality. The temperature's like 20 degrees always.
Yeah, that's so great. Favorite place you've ever created at, or I guess in your case performed, maybe?
No, created at, but yeah, probably one and the same. But favorite spot you've ever done your thing at?
Nice. Yeah, I guess my favorite spot. Wow, that's tough. I wonder. I loved like English Bay and the beaches in Australia too. Like I love being at the beach. I found that spiritually there's like that rhythm comes with the waves, right? And the sound of the crashing waves. I think that's why everybody loves the ocean so much. So
yeah.
I realized like kind of like in my pursuit of happiness or whatever, it naturally brought me to those places.
We feel the same.
Yeah.
Favorite athlete?
I guess Venus Williams, since she danced with me center court at the Rogers Cup, right?
Yep, that's right. You were staying with us when that happened, remember? In Toronto. Fuck yeah. Favorite vacation spot?
No, we've already done that.
Favorite female actor?
Molly Shannon.
Love that. Love that. Favorite male actor?
Yeah, Jim Carrey. There.
Yeah. Favorite video game console?
Oh wow, normal Nintendo. Let's go OG.
Oh no,
the
original Nintendo. The original Nintendo. Favorite video game ever?
The game would be Grand Theft Auto actually ended up being my favorite.
Which one? The third one?
Yeah, like the one where you could walk around the city, and then they're pretty much all like that.
But I played Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, the overhead view.
The computer with the overhead.
Yeah. PlayStation had it too. Yeah, but it was also on the computer mostly. Yeah, it's the overhead view. It's fucking crazy. Favorite basketball shoes?
Jordans. What am I wearing now though? I guess I got these two. These aren't Jordans. These are high tops.
Nice.
But yeah.
Fuck yeah, Supra? No, but Jordan's. Favorite basketball player?
Oh, wow. Steve Nash.
Yeah. Now, favorite taste?
Taste? Ooh, that's tough, and it's a speed round. Crap, I don't even know.
So there's 5 tastes, right? Salt, sour, or bitter,
and sweet. I love
umami, which we both like umami. That's like the rich, almost like barbecue eel.
Right on. I want to say sweet with but I'm talking like a sour sweet candy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sour soother thing.
Fuck yeah, that was the speed round.
I hate that Spandy, but he's sweet as fuck.
Dude, it was so good just to document us being together, us just chatting, and like it's always a blessing. And yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. It's just great to catch up as friends because it's been a while. So it's awesome that we made this happen. This is like the forced thing. Like even my classes, like I have to do them. And then it's like, I should have just done this anyway. Like we should have talked anyway. But
it's nice to have an excuse.
Yeah.
Because it forces a more focused conversation in like a positive way, but it's always good, and I'll call you right after this anyway.
Well, good. Yeah, keep it up. I love you guys, and like we know we got our priorities straight. Health is first.
Yes, always. I love you too, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bless.
Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
Discipline. Stoners! We get high. And we
your stuff.
Anything can happen. We don't know in 10 years.